Wonderful, warm welcome to the world. My name is Joel. Today we are going to learn about two-dimensional arrays in C++. I wrote a brief notes about a variable, 1D array and two-dimensional array. If someone wants to read it or write it, please pause it and check it. And I am reading the definition of a two-dimensional array. A 2D array is an array of arrays where each element is itself an array, row, and all rows have the same number of columns. It represents a grid-like structure of data. Storage power. Variable can store one value. In 1D array, it can store one row and n number of columns. That one row is like a constant, it's fixed, but we can keep how many columns we want. But in two-dimensional arrays, we write n number of rows and m number of columns. We can write how many rows we want and how many columns we want. But remember, if I wrote in the first row two columns, then all the rows I need to write two columns. Now let's see how to declare a two-dimensional array. So first I'll write the data type. I'm going to write int, but you can use what data type you want, like int, float, char, string, but don't use doubles. It's because array should be one type, one data type, but doubles support both whole numbers and decimal numbers. And I'll give this a name like number grid. And in a normal array, I will only write one square braces, but in two-dimensional arrays, we will write two square braces. One is for rows, the first one is for rows, the second one is for columns. And I'll write equal to, and in curly brace, I will write curly brace. Why? Remember, in two-dimensional array, we have to write an array in an array. And let's maybe write the elements as 11, 22, 33. You can write whatever you want, but I will write 11, 22, 33 and I'll keep a comma at the end. Why? To tell that there are more elements and separating the lines for formatations. And let's write in the next line 44, 55, and 66, and here also comma. And let's write in the third row 77, 88, 99, and at the end let's keep a semicolon. So this is, now let's write the rows and columns. Remember how many rows and columns are there in my array. Remember one thing, when I wanted to access, I should always start from 0, but when I want to write, then I need to always start from 1. So how many rows I have? 1, 2, 3. So 3 rows in the first one. How many columns I have? 1, 2, 3. This is like a matrix, right? Now let's see how can I access only an individual element like 11. Let's see that. Here I have the same data but in boxes. And as I said before, when we wanted to access, we should always start from 0. And remember, in the square braces also the same rule applies for rows and columns. First rows, second columns. Now let's say if I wanted to access 11, in which row it is? 0th row. In which column it is? 0th column. If I want to access 55, in which row it is? First row. In which column? First column. So 1, 1. If I want to access 88, then in which row it is? Second row. In which row it is? Second row. And in which column? First column. Let's say 99. In which row it is? Second row. In which column it is? Second colon. Now let's see the same thing with the help of code. Like when I run it, it will print out the element. So I will write cout double as an angle brackets and my two-dimensional array name, number, grid and two square braces, semicolon. So if I want to access 11, in which row it is? 0th row. In which column it is? 0th column. So in the first one I'll write 0 and the second one also 0. If I wanted to access 77, but before I click 77, let's check if it prints out. There we go, 11. Now let's try 77. In which row it is? Second row. In which column it is? 0th column. So I just change the 0 to 2 in the rows and let's run it. 77. Now let's try 55. In which row it is? First row. In which column it is? First column. So let me click on run. 55. Let's try 88. In which row it is? Second row. In which column it is? First column. 88. And lastly, let's try 99. In which row it is? Second row. In which column it is? Second column. So let's click on run. And the output is 99. So let's do the same thing with the help strings. So instead of int, we will write string. And instead of number grid, let's write number of chocolate. This is like one more example. And let's take off the numbers. And at the end, how many rows and columns I have, then I'm going to write it. So in double quotes, I will write what to be printed out. Like in box 1, there are There are 50 chocolates. And let's copy this. And let's write instead 1, 2 and 100 chocolates. Let's copy this. And instead of 2, 3 and 200 chocolates. Now let's write the rows and columns. So how many rows I have? 1, 2, 3. So 3 I'll write. How many columns I have? 0 column. I meant 1 column. And let's change this number grid to number of chocolates, or it's going to show you guys an error. And let's say, now before I click on run or do something, I want to tell you that you can keep a comma and write how many sentences you want. But for now, to not make it big, I'm doing like this. But if you want, you can keep a comma and write how many sentences you want. So let's say maybe let's box 3. In which row it is? Second row. In which column? 0 column. So let's click on run. In box 3, there are 200 chocolates. Let's maybe say box 2 now. Let's change this to 1 and let's click on run. The output is in box 2 there are 100 chocolates. And lastly, let's try box 1. Instead of 1, 0 because it's in the 0th row and 0th column. In box 1 there are 50 chocolates. And I hope you found the video helpful and useful about two-dimensional arrays. Please like, subscribe, share, and bye-bye. Take care.